Today we are revealing what the top 10 most expensive Pokemon cards are right now from Evolving Skies. We just got the release of Surging Sparks, and while the main focus is on the new set, cards from Evolving Skies are starting to quietly move again. We all know the Moon Bunny is #1, but it's getting a significant bump in the market right now, so I wanted to check it out and see if any of the other cards are moving. So in this video, we will look at the price and see if we think that these cards are properly valued, or undervalued, or even overvalued. Guys, I really want to hear your opinions on this, so make sure to comment down below. Let's jump into number 10. At number 10, we have the Sylveon V Alt Art. So before we start talking about the card a little bit, we're going to look at the price of the card. So it's at $77.17 at its current price, and it looks like it was at $50 a year ago. So we're currently up $27 on the yearly. And man, I love this card. But I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not my favorite Evolution V from the set, but it makes sense why this card is in the top 10 with how popular Sylveon has become. I actually think that this card's properly valued, and unless we get a significant boost in the market, I think this card could float around this price range in the near future for sure. At number 9, we have the Espeon V Alt Art, and this card is coming in at $101.94, and the yearly low looks like it was $58.83, so it is up quite a bit actually from where it was just even a year ago. And here's the thing, guys, Espeon is a very popular Pokemon, and it's hard not to think and wonder, what would this card be worth if the VMAX was also in this set? Would this card even be in the top 10? I don't know. It's something you can ponder on for sure. It's something that kind of gets you wondering, like, what if it's not in Fusion Strike? What if the VMAX is in this set? Honestly, I feel like the VMAX would probably be worth just as much as it is in Fusion Strike as it would be if it was in Evolving Skies. With that being said, I actually think that this card benefits from the Espeon VMAX not being in this set. This is the only version of Espeon we have in this set, so I think naturally people want all the evolutions. Obviously you can get the original trio in the collection boxes, and then you could pull this one. And again, I actually think that this card is properly valued. At number 8, we have the Rayquaza V Alt Art, and this thing is coming in at $106.52 on the current price, and the yearly low, it looks like it was setting around $69.96. I believe is what that says. So that's where we are with this card. Guys, this is going to be an extremely hot take. Okay, so hold on to your butts. I actually think I like this Rayquaza card more than the VMAX. I know I'm crazy. I like this art style a lot more than what the VMAX has. And I know the VMAX are supposed to look different. They're supposed to be different, but I just don't like the way that Rayquaza is presented in that card. Anyway, I do think that this card is actually undervalued, and I think that this card really should be in about the $125 to $135 range. Honestly, guys, I really do. At number 7, we have the Dragonite V Alt Art, and this thing is coming in at $144.85, and the yearly low is looking like $90.61, so obviously a very large jump there. It seems like that this card is really hard to pull. I know what you're thinking, all of them are hard to pull. Honestly, it just seems like this one is a lot harder than the other ones. This card deserves way more love and way more value. I honestly think that this thing should be in more of the $160 to $170 range. At number 6, we have the Umbreon V Alt Art, and this bad boy is coming in at an astonishing $152.54, and it's even up $4.25 from its last reading, and its yearly low looks like it is about $87, so obviously it almost doubled in price. Not gonna lie to you, this one's probably gonna rustle some feathers. To me, this is the most overrated card in the top 10. For the keyboard warriors, start getting on here and killing me, let me explain my thinking. The card is great, okay? The artwork is awesome. You got the Pinscher, you have some other Pokemon down here. It's like Umbreon, the King of Darkness, blah, blah, blah. It's cool. I understand the artwork. It looks great. To be honest, I don't think it's better than the Dragonite V, and I don't think it's better than the Rayquaza V. And while it's still hard to pull, I think it's more likely to be pulled than the other two that I just mentioned. With that being said, I do think that it would outdo the Rayquaza. I just don't see how this card is above the Dragonite from an artwork standpoint, and it's not like Dragonite's not a popular Pokemon. Obviously, I guess you can argue Umbreon is way more popular. Is it more popular because of the VMAX Umbreon? Like, was Umbreon this popular before? These are all questions I'm asking. I don't really know for sure. It's hard to measure that. I guess anyone who likes Umbreon is going to say, well, yeah, duh. anyone that's like Dragonite's gonna be like, no, Dragonite's way better. So I try to look at it from a different kind of lens, and I just don't see this card being better than a Dragonite in the real world. At number 5, we have the Sylveon VMAX Alt Art. This card is coming in at $199.90, and most recently is up $6 from its recent reading. It is actually up from its yearly low of $125. I don't know how you can say a card that is valued at $200 is undervalued, but I'm gonna say it. This card, for whatever reason, just can't pass the other 3 up on this list. Obviously, it's not gonna pass up the Umbreon. I think this card is more around the $225 to $235 mark. That's just me personally. Just off of the artwork and the popularity alone, there's so much going on in this card, and a lot of great cameos with the Marshadow, the Eevee, the Vaporeon. There's just a lot going on in this card, and it looks amazing. Overall, a really great card. At number 4, we have the Glaceon VMAX Alt Art. This card is coming in at $227.48. It is actually up $13 from its most recent reading at a yearly low of $136. This might be the hottest take of them all. This is my number 2 card from this set. I'm not a huge fan of most of the evolutions. I understand why people gravitate to them, whether it's the color of the evolution, the element that it represents, or maybe just how cute they are. I'm not a huge Glaceon fan, but the cameos in this card, absolutely S tier. When you have the Pikachu, the Meryl, the Eevee, you have a Phoebus back there in the background, and then the actual artwork itself just looks phenomenal. I think this card is severely undervalued, and it should be more in the $300 to $325 range. Yeah, I said it. That's where this card should be. At number 3, we have the Leafeon VMAX Alt Art, and this card is coming in at $257. It's actually down only 77 cents, so nothing crazy going on there. On the yearly low, it is actually up from $169. Quite a significant jump. This is another great card from this set. All the cards in the top 10 obviously are fantastic cards, right? It's just how your opinions differ on them. I actually think that this card is properly valued. I mean, I really do. This card floating around $255 to $265 seems like the right range for this card. What's really weird though, I was thinking about the most popular of the evolutions, and I don't think Leafeon even makes the top 5. But here we are at number 3 in the top 10 of one of the biggest sets that's come out in modern Pokemon history. Also, nice little caveat, this is my son's favorite evolution. This is his favorite card from Evolving Skies. Shout out to Braden. At number 2, we have the Rayquaza VMAX Alt Art, and this monster is coming in at $441, and it is up $23 from its most recent reading, and it's actually up from its yearly low of $256. I guess I've kind of been hinting towards this entire video. I genuinely do not understand why this card is this much money. I love Rayquaza. Depending on what day you ask me, this is my favorite Pokemon of all time. I'm a Gen 3 baby, okay? That's the era I remember the most. That is the one that I played the most. That's the one I cherish the most. This is my era. But man, this card just doesn't strike me as a $445 card. I think this card should be more in the range where the Glaceon is now. It's not seeing those numbers ever again, unless the entire market collapses, which I guess is technically a possibility. We're kind of due for a huge market collapse, so who knows, maybe after Scarlet and Violet, that era closes out, maybe we get a big collapse. But until then, I don't think you're gonna see this card in the 200, like the low 200s for sure. And we all knew what number 1 was gonna be. It is the Umbreon VMAX Alt Art, and this freaking monster is coming in at $1,181 from its most recent reading. It is actually up $134. So this thing has recently got a little bump. It is actually up from the year from $526, I believe is what that says, $541. So a year ago, this card was $541. Look at this bump. It has just been slowly creeping along, and now we are currently at all-time high for the Umbreon in its raw state. We all knew that this one was going to be number 1, right? There really wasn't any question about this. Maybe we didn't know what the other order was, but we knew this was number 1. That was a guarantee. Don't really think that this card deserves to be this high, and honestly, I'm kind of leaning that way. I love this card. I'm a proud owner of a PSA 10 of this card, but I'd be lying if I told you this is a $1,200 card. I could not buy this card for $1,200. Now, maybe I'm different. Maybe that's what it is. Put this in perspective. I want to show you guys the Lovebirds from Sun and Moon Team Up, which is the most expensive card from that era. This card is only coming in at $959, which it is up $54 from its most recent reading, with a yearly low of $716. The Umbreon hasn't seen $700 in probably what, 8 months? That's absolutely insane. This is the top card from Sun and Moon, and the Umbreon is blowing it out of the water. I know that you can't just say just because it's older makes it more expensive, or the Umbreon shouldn't be more expensive than an older card, because honestly, that just doesn't make sense, right? That just doesn't make sense. But there's some weird things between the two that I don't genuinely understand. So we're gonna look at the graded side of things real quick between these two cards, just to kind of get a nice perspective on things, because I want to see this too. So a PSA 10 for the Latios and Latios is coming in at 2.7K, and the population is 1,529. So remember that number, 1,529 PSA 10s for the Latios and Latios, okay? And a PSA 10 is 1.8K. So obviously the Latios is more in a PSA 10, 13,670. That is so many PSA 10s. And then you have 3,246 in a 9. That is absolutely insane. Honestly, that number is just really high. And the fact that it's still worth this much is absolutely crazy. I've heard people say that there isn't many Umbreons left in the wild, and honestly, it definitely feels like it. It looks like it. Obviously, there's more than 13,000 printed. Not every single one that was printed got a 10. We've seen some got 9s. There is a ton, and I mean a ton, of Evolving Skies that is still sealed, locked in someone's mom's basement, that are probably first prints. You guys know, if you've been around the game a lot, first prints usually, not always, but usually produces the best cards the most, right? I don't know why Pokemon does it. Is it Pokemon front load this stuff on purpose? Who knows? Can't really prove it. Sure does seem that way. First print stuff all over the place. Set down in your mom's basement, locked away for a rainy day. There could still be a lot more of these in the wild. You can't rule out that there is a bit touch of market manipulation. Market manipulation happens in any money market across the globe. Obviously, people can make this number move like crazy if they want to. Kind of seems like it. I can't pay this much for a single modern Pokemon card. Now, I will say, this could be because I have one. I have a PSA 10. Why? Maybe I'm numb to this card, right? So I want to know from you guys, if you don't have this card, or maybe you do have this card, maybe I'm just blind and naive, I don't know, maybe who knows what the problem is. If you don't have this card though, I would love to hear, if you had the money to spend, would you buy this card at $1,200? Let me know down below. Would you buy this card for $1,200? All right guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this top 10. We are killing it with the top 10 list. Like I said in the last one, I really do enjoy making these. It opens me up a little bit. I get to see all the numbers fresh and everything. I honestly, since I've started doing this top 10, I stopped looking at prices. I genuinely want to be shocked with you guys. So this is absolutely awesome to do. Remember guys, we are trying to grow the DGen Nation in our Discord. So if you want to join the Discord, I highly suggest you do so. We have the best DGens on the internet. The link for that is down in the description. Also, if you're feeling froggy, you like the rip and ship scene, definitely take out PokeFactoryShop.com. I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate all the love and support. We're on the road to 10K, baby. I really want to open up this EX Deoxys and go Gold Star Rayquaza hunting, because you know, Rayquaza. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. PokeFactory out. Peace.